How's it going, everybody? I'm Ben Grove, and I'm here with my top 8 action for the Pokemon TCG Cube Discord's CoinFlip Cube League. If you haven't checked out the rest of the videos, go ahead and check those out right now. That'll show the draft and the Swiss rounds that have led up to this top 8. Just a quick reminder, we are playing in Best Pal Al's CoinFlip Cube, shown here on Cube Koga. And CoinFlip Cube is a cube in which you get to decide the results of your own coin flips. So, for example, this Crobat that has 2 attacks that have that has an attack that has flip a coin on it. We don't flip coins. We just decide which we're choosing heads, and that goes the same for items too. Dual Ball. It's just better battle VIP pass. So this cube really has some crazy plays and some crazy pop-off points, especially in this match as well. I'm excited to hop into it. So this time around, we are here is the bracket for top 8, and as you can see, I came in after Swiss rounds second. My only loss at the hands of Slight, who finished 5-0 with his tanky Crobat Cherim deck. And the really cool thing that I'm seeing this time around is there's a lot of deck diversity in top 8. There are a couple repeats with some Walrein decks, but they're very different decks. And same thing with the 2 Crobat decks. Yeah, there's 2 Crobats, but they're very different Crobat decks. The Crobat Cherim deck is more of a tank deck in which you're trying to heal your Crobats and keep them alive and be annoying. And it also has Floettes in it. And the Crobat Dugtrio deck is more of a deck revolving around the fact that some of the Crobat's attacks cause confusion, and then you rack up additional damage because your opponent is trying to retreat out of that confusion. We have a really unique and very top 8, and I'm looking to bring it home. My first opponent this time around is Davi, and he's playing a Typhlosion and Arcanine deck. Now, both Typhlosion and Arcanine are great energy accelerators. You've got this Typhlosion here from Neogenesis. Fire Boost. When you play Typhlosion from your hand, you may flip a coin if head search your deck for 4, count them, 4 fire energy cards and attach them to Typhlosion. Shuffle your deck afterwards. So, more powerful energy acceleration than exists in the actual standard format game, basically, which is crazy cool. And you can combo those things with things like Moltres EX, which has Legendary Ascent to move Moltres to the active when you play it and move fire energies to it. Or you can pair that up with Mewtwo Delta Species, which is basically like the Shaman, Celebration Wind Shaman for my deck, but it only moves basic energies. Or with Flame Dash Arcanine. Once during your turn, when you play Arcanine from your hand to evolve one of your bench Pokemon, you may switch Arcanine with one of your active Pokemon. And if you do, you may move any number of energy cards attached to that Pokemon to Arcanine. Now, the challenging thing for me in this matchup in particular is this deck can hit hard. I played in my Swiss rounds, I played against a lot of decks that tried to do cute little bits of damage that I could play around. But this Typhlosion deck does not do that. Arcanine's Inferno Onrush does 120 damage. Typhlosion EX's Split Blast does 100. And even Moltres EX doing 60 in Confusion, or Noctowl, which is this deck's draw engine. Noctowl can actually do 40 plus 40 if we're matching hand sizes. So this deck can put out some good damage for good rates. In terms of other impressive plays it can pull off, we've got 2 Double Gust, Bodybuilding Dumbbells, Surprise Time Machine to reload some of your accelerators, 2 Burning Energy to help combat the discard effects of some of these, like Moltres EX's Crushing Flames, or the Accelerating Arcanine's Attack White Flames, discard all fire energy. So the deck has some definite tricks up its sleeve. One thing that I can definitely play around is there's only 1 rare candy in the list, so the likelihood of a turn 2 Typhlosion is really, they would really have to hit the nuts, and I mean at that point it's just basically like I would have been dead anyway. So, so we will at least be probably given the amount of time to be able to get my guys into play. Popping over to my deck, I am playing the Altaria from Crimson Invasion. That was Draco Melody. Flip a coin. If heads, search a deck for a basic, or sorry, no, not a basic, for a dragon Pokemon and put it on your bench. So I'm cheating out some stage 2s like this Dragonite and this Flygon. And I have a couple energy accelerators like Unknown Y and Celebi to help power those guys up. But other than that, let's go ahead and hop right into the match. Actually, before we do, I just wanted to kind of make semi an announcement here. Is that I started putting together a Patreon to kind of help continue putting all these videos out. I love making these videos, and I'm going to make them regardless. But if you're somebody who wants to contribute and help keep that going, go check out my Patreon. I'll provide a link here. Okay, let's hop into the match. So starting off here, flip heads. I believe that means my opponent is going first. What else they called it? I don't remember. I start a Swablu start, which is great. I got Swablu, I've got an attach, and I've got a supporter, which is all I can ask for. So I'm just going to go Swablu pass, and attach to Swablu and pass, and that's about it. That's all I really need to do. I think about benching Unknown Q, but not necessary yet. My opponent has a dual ball to really get himself set up. He's got a Battle VIP pass, I suppose. Go ahead and get Hoot Hoot for his draw engine, and a Growlithe is his other attacking line, and will just hit me for 20 damage. I draw a Volkner off the top deck, which guarantees the Altaria I don't have to go around with Copycat for 5 shenanigans. So I'll just go ahead and grab a Lightning Energy and a Night Teleporter. And the reason I grabbed the Night Teleporter is because I had the Flygon in my hand and Dragonite was prized. So I needed to put Flygon back in the deck. And so I will regrettably take my hand down to 0 to get the Flygon in play, but that's not that big of a deal because I can just go ahead and sand flap myself next turn and give myself 4 cards. My opponent starts off hot with a Computer Search, discarding Fire Energy and Black Belt, and gets Bug Catcher to flip a coin. If heads, draw 4 cards, which we'll do. Off those 4 cards, they don't find much, so they just have to attach to Growlithe and pass. I pull a great top deck for myself as a playable top deck of Level Ball, and I believe I'm just going to go ahead and get Unknown Y from that. Unknown Y is my premier acceleration engine. Flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for a Psychic Energy and attach it to Unknown. And at this point, I don't have a Flygon powered up yet, so I will just go ahead and hit my opponent with a Cotton Guard, doing 30 damage and reducing damage done to it by 30. Now, my opponent definitely needs to get either Quilava or Arcanine or something into play. Steven's advice to draw 3 cards is a good start to that. And we'll see what we got. Evo Incense will definitely get us there. And it'll be Evo Incense for Noctowl to keep drawing more cards. We don't have the out yet, so we'll keep drawing there. And actually, we'll get the heck out of dodge, we'll move Cyndaquil to the bench, and promote the Noctowl as the biggest health threat. I'll go ahead and use Unknown Y to grab a Psychic Energy for the deck. I'll attach for turn to Flygon, which basically guarantees that I'm not attacking this turn. I'll sand flap my opponent, and then I'll just go for the Cotton Guard and poke them. My opponent gets a Burning Energy and an N. I gave them an N off the sand flap, but I've got a great hand here after I've been N'd. I hadn't drawn any prizes yet, so N's not too impactful just yet. My opponent benching a backup Hoot Hoot in case the Noctowl goes down this turn, which is looking pretty likely. And we'll play Mewtwo Delta to switch the energy around. Switch out of the Noctowl, and we'll go ahead and confuse me with Confuse Ray. Now, this Confuse Ray isn't necessarily big. I do just need to find the Rainbow Energy to get rolling here. And Erica is a great start to that. I'll draw 3 cards. And still seeing no Rainbow Energy. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the Dragonite. I have Judge in hand, so I'm going to go ahead and Judge, and then that will get rid of the Dragonite from hand and also disrupt my opponent. Mulligan. Actually draw the Rainbow Energy off the Judge, so I'm feeling good about that. I'll Sandflap myself, Sandflap myself into Dragonite. So my play here is guaranteed. I have to go in with Flagon, and I have no problem with taking the KO there. And since I've Azelfed and I've seen my prizes, I can take what I want off that, and then my opponent shows me the hand there that they've got. Kind of just means we go to game 2. And yeah, after the Night Sight, we have Cyndaquil, Typhlosion, Cyndaquil. So that hand is just completely dead. I'm going to end up going up 2 prizes before my opponent really has anything going, and that's not even guaranteed. They really got a top deck out of that. So the Sandflap definitely got me there. Okay, well, we'll head into game 2. Starting this hand is everything we need. We got a Swablu, we got a reserve ticket to put an Altaria on top of the deck. That's about it. My opponent only has 1 N in deck, so that's the only real hand disruption. So I feel pretty confident just going with the 1 reserve ticket here as my play to just like have a good turn 2 play. I also have a backup Swablu in case my opponent hits the nuts. Which, starting off Computer Search for the 2nd game in a row, feels like it. We'll Computer Search away Typhlosion, EX, and Fire Energy for a Dual Ball. So they're playing Battle VIP Pass again. And getting Hoot Hoot and Growlithe. An attached return of a Burning Energy is a pretty good play. And I'll get reserved tickets. Just a brief check of the deck before guaranteeing, yeah, I'm definitely picking Altaria. I actually don't commit the energy here because I know I'm top decking Altaria, and I don't, in case I get knocked out, I don't want to attach to one of the Swablus. So the safest bet here is to actually not attach. My opponent has a very good top deck in Mallow. Or not top deck, just play in Mallow. Search there for 2 cards, shuffle the deck, and then put the cards on top of the deck in any order. The very cool thing that they'll do is they'll go ahead and use Pokestop. So they'll bin to the Evo Incense and the Rare Candy, which they'll immediately get to use, and they'll use Typhlosion's Pokepower to grab 4 Fire Energy from the deck, and they'll play down Moltres EX and announce kill on the Swablu. I've only got 1 simple little play here, and that's going to be to Draco Melody. I go ahead and get rid of Pokestop and do a little Double Gust just so I have just like a little bit of some disruptive shenanigans. And I'm going to go ahead and get Flagon since my hand is dead. I definitely need a refresh here because I've got no energy. Hopefully the Double Gust play here is going to let the Altaria stick around. My opponent gets a Colress for 6. And not seeing the switch, so I'm gonna refresh the page. Yeah, don't see the switch, so the Double Gust did its job. I go ahead and do Sandflap to get myself a brand new 4 cards, and I find Rainbow Energy, which is great. And then I'll just go ahead and Draco Melody and get out Dragonite. So my opponent is definitely in the spot where they need to draw out of this. They can't even really use Growlithe's Attack 4 because I'll just bring up Celebi Prime and that'll feel really good. They get the Double Gust, so they're going to Double Gust Dragonite. which is really cringe. And I'll bring up Hoothoot. We'll go ahead and Candela, drawing 2 cards, and able to flip a coin if heads, accelerate fire from the discard to a bench guy. And then with Flygon in the active, or sorry, with Dragonite in the active, we're going to go ahead and be able to swing for KO. Yes, they got the switch. And actually they have the... Yes, they'll switch into Moltres here, and then they'll evolve into Arcanine to move the energy over to an Arcanine with bodybuilding dumbbells on it. So the Inferno Onrush doing 4 damage to itself means now it's still at 100 HP, which is the magic number for me to not kill something with Dragonite. So I'm just going to go for a cute little Altaria play here. I'm going to go ahead and Cotton Guard to basically protect myself from an... Oh, no, I don't protect myself from an Inferno Onrush KO, but I get some chip damage. And then they're going to Inferno Onrush and smack for 120. I've got 2 energy in hand, so I definitely can promote the Celebi. I'll Force Breath, attach. I'm going to Copycat for 2. We'll see what we get. I got an Energy Restore and a Rainbow Energy, and then I'll just go ahead and Sandflap myself. I don't want to give my opponent 3 new cards with Erica, so I just have to take the KO, and I'll go ahead in with the Sandflap, or with the Sandtomb to do that. Drawing Unknown Y off the prizes is great, because I definitely am going to need some acceleration. My opponent Bird Keepers to really get out of the small hand there that they were left with. And their Flame Wheel that they're going to be able to attack with does 80 damage to the active and 20 to all bench, which is really putting my Dragonite. Just like my Dragonite is basically unusable at this point, which is very scary. It also is definitely putting pressure on the Unknown Y. Like, Unknown Y is really hard to bench right now if I'm going to be attacked by that Typhlosion that spreads 20 to all the bench guys. Simultaneously, the Moltres isn't any easier to KO. I do decide that the risks are not outweighed by the benefits. I want to get more energy in play, especially with a hand with no energy in it, so I have to use Unknown Y and Yield. I'll bench another Swablu just to have potentially an out if I have to Brock Script back a Dragonite and put another one into play. And then I'll go ahead and Sandtomb and hit my opponent for 80 damage. 80 damage, not taking the KO. And the really unfortunate thing right now is that the Unknown is taking damage. The Swablu is protecting itself on the bench. And then I'm going to do a play that I'm like really proud of myself that, like, in deck building, I recognize was the correct pick in putting Energy Restore in my deck. It really has just allowed me to pull off a lot of pop-off turns with Celebi Prime. And just like, oh, Celebi had 1 energy on it. Well, I'm going to Energy Restore, get back a Grass and a Psychic, and now it's attacking. And just guaranteeing the energy is really cool. In this position, I am going to be able to Time Circle, and my opponent will have to find a good way to go through me. I'll Lily for 2, and I'll Time Circle to protect myself from attacks from Evolution Pokemon, or Evolved Pokemon, Stage 1 and Stage 2. My opponent could attack with the Cyndaquil, and but their Swift attack doesn't do weakness, so it would take 2 turns. Luckily, a Teammate's in hand makes it really easy for my opponent to get into whatever they need to do here. And when they're already at 2 prizes remaining on me, things are really looking grim. I've got Celebi with 20 health left, and Unknown Y with 20 health left, and a Regigigas with only 1 energy on it. This is not a great spot. Off the Teammates, they go ahead and get the energy recharging Arcanine, and then they pull off a very cool play to defeat the Celebi, they surprise Time Machine and put the Arcanine back in the deck and just attack with Growlithe instead. So the Growlithe will be able to knock me. Actually, what they do is they're able. Wait, how did that play work? What did they do? Were they able to meet? Did they Mewtwo Delta? Yeah, they did Mewtwo Delta. Yeah, so they were going to attack with Growlithe, but instead, an even better play is to Mewtwo Delta, switch the energy over to Moltres, and this Moltres is definitely a threat. They're evolving into Quilava as well, so they've got a Typhlosion potentially coming as well, and then they'll knock me out with Crushing Flames. The really interesting play, and the really interesting play I could have pulled off, and I'm really going to lament here, is that with Shaman, I should have moved that energy over to Shaman, because I would be able to attach Grass to it and then Black Belt for the KO, which would be really cool. But I really don't have that, and I really don't have a way to. I really don't have a way to accomplish anything with my hand or with my board, with my opponent being at 1 prize. Like if my opponent was at more prizes, I'd be able to do something more substantial, but I'm not. And so basically, what I'm going to do here is just Double Gust and Pray. So I'll Double Gust. I think I'll Double Gust the Mewtwo Delta. I'm just going to Double Gust and say, okay, you don't have energy. My opponent has burned through a lot of energy because that's kind of the nature of the deck. My opponent gets to choose first. They'll choose Regigigas because it has 4 retreats. Surprise, surprise. I'll pull up Mewtwo Delta. Surprise, surprise. And I'll start attaching to Regigigas. Now, the cool thing is if I'm able to drag off next turn, I can drag off with Black Belt and get the KO on Moltres. But I think at this point it's just too little, too late. I just have to go ahead and pass the turnover. And my opponent will probably just show me energy retreat. And that'll be about it. And Night Sight to draw cards. Digging for it. Steven's advice to dig 5 more into the deck. They find the switch. And they're able to attach to the Moltres. Super Rod back the Arcanine into play. And go ahead for another Inferno Onrush. So this game too really shows off like the cool plays that Arcanine and Typhlosion and Moltres can pull off, because they're all about flooding the board with energy and then swooping into the active and attacking with whoever you need to. I take a Gentleman's Mulligan because my hand didn't have any energy and no real way to get into an Altaria. I start off with just Swablu Attach Pass, and I'm going to hope that my Copycat gets me something good. My opponent starts Computer Search for the 3rd game in a row, guaranteeing Battle VIP Pass, aka Dual Ball. All 3 games. But just some good luck for my opponent there. And they'll hit me with Swift. I just have to bench second Swablu. I attach Rainbow for like a potential Flygon play next turn. And I'll go ahead and Copycat for a big old 3. And I get flat out nothing. And I'll collect for a card. So I'm hoping my opponent has similarly nothing. But if they're comp searching for a Dual Ball, I think they probably have something. They have a Bird Keeper to switch and draw 3. And off of that Bird Keeper, they find something. No, they find something, but I had to refresh the page because Untap was dying on me. They find Arcanine, and they're going to go for the gamble here of risky play, discarding some energy from Arcanine to get the KO on one of my Swablus. I top deck a Lily, which is a supporter. We're gonna use it for sure. I think what I end up doing is I just attach for turn and Lily for 4 and say, there's got to be an Altaria here somewhere. I'm debating whether or not to bench the Chatot, but the supporter I can use is Copycat, and it's Copycat for 5. And I go for the Lily for 4, and it does not get me there. So I'm really down bad, and I'm gonna run away. And I'll retreat into unknown and hit him with the hidden power. I do have Altaria guaranteed for next turn, and my opponent doesn't have anything either. They just have the shake, and hit the unknown for 10 and move the Swablu up. So I will play the ball guy. I will get a quick ball, a pokeball, and a level ball. I'll use those to find Altaria for 1. And energy for the unknown Y for 2. And then I'll get a Swirlix with, I believe I get it with the quick ball. So I got the Swirlix, and we'll just go ahead and Draco Melody and get the Dragonite out. I think at this point, because I've benched a Swirlix and I still have supporters in hand. Dragonite is the more aggressive play, and I think I can make it because my hand is in a good spot. My opponent attaches energy and goes ahead and hits me for 70 and discards some energy. But that puts me in a really great spot. I've got enough energy on board. I've got Rainbow Energy in hand to fulfill that lightning cost, and I've got a Pokeball in hand to get a Shaman, and that's just what I'm going to do. And so I'm gonna move some energy around. Attach for turn and retreat. Go ahead and use Spark for a big 2 cards. And get an Olympia, which is a great draw. That's really going to allow me to just power through the next couple turns. And I'll take the KO with Healing. Healing 30 for myself and deal 90 to my opponent. My opponent just has to attach to Hoothoot N and go for the Confuse Ray, which is not going to be enough because I've top decked Floatstone and I had Double Gust and Unknown Q in hand. I'm just going to go ahead and attach Unknown Q to Shaman once it's double gusted up. I'll attach to Swirlix and Judge, and then because I've double gusted the Cyndaquil up instead of the Hoothoot, I'm in a really good position to take some prizes, and my opponent is now forced to really be playing catch up and benching Cyndaquils like multiple turns in a row now. And I still got the Olympia in hand, so I'll be able to, even if I get confused again here, I'll be able to switch out of it and go back in. And they go with Confuse Ray. I'll attach to Swirlix, powering up a potential attack there, and Olympia, and I'll just go ahead and take it a prize. My opponent's left with just a Cyndaquil, and that's not going to do it. They really needed another Pokemon to be able to have the Moltres on the bench so they could Candela to it and start powering it up that way, but they did not have that opportunity because I was able to dodge out confusion. So my opponent just scoops it up. I mean, at that point, they were very far behind. Playing a stage 2 deck with only 1 rare candy, and you're already down 2 prizes, is tough. Especially in this cube, there is no scramble energy, so you really can't, like, the way you're coming from behind in this cube is different than a lot of other cubes. It's more things that like you can do with black belt and damage like that. But yeah, so I think my opponent had a really cool deck, and we saw it in game 2, especially how much it can pop off. Like if it pops off, like you're cooked. But it was a little inconsistent, and as long as I'm able to dig through and find an Altaria turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, I was still in an okay spot there, and that's what got me on through to top 4. So look forward to seeing a lot more content from me in the future. I'm gonna keep making this content even if I scrub out here next round in top 4 or in the finals, I don't know, but I'm gonna keep making a whole bunch of cube content and maybe some other Pokemon TCG related content. as well while we wait around for the next Cube League. If you want to get in on the action of our next Cube League, that starts the first week of December. The cube has not yet been announced yet, but I'll probably make a video posting about it for anybody who's interested, and they can join in on the action next time around. We'd love to have you. So, all right, I'll see you again next time for my top 4 match.